Perfect. Mihir, you have 5 minutes for the pitch and 5 minutes for Q&A. Please, you can start now. Mihir?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, so our product is called STAR, which is Smart Trained Analytics and Recommendation System. The end goal, of course, is a list of things that we'll be arriving at using the product. The product is basically a fully white labeled system, and STAR will feed off live information from the liquidity provider or the bank to arrive at real-time position monitoring, periodic reports, autonomous alerts, insights and analytics, and most importantly, client categorization and smart recommendations. The client categorization and smart recommendations can then be consumed by UAB's team to provide tailored services to their end clients, or by the UAB's clients themselves directly to be able to better manage their investment decisions. Now, how do we achieve this? The planned steps are, the first and foremost would be data collection. So we would be collecting the historical data from the bank to arrive at our models or to fine tune our models. On top of that, we would start collecting the live data of investment and trade decisions that are happening at the bank's database and feed that live into the system. Post that, we would do the feature extraction, which is basically the different features across which our clients would be categorized. Then the most important step of factorization and categorization, wherein every single client would be categorized across different buckets. I'll come to more of this in detail in the next few slides. And then finally, we'll create the entire data fabric, which basically can be used by the bank as well as by our system to keep fine-tuning the overall recommendation system and the algorithm that we'll be developing. Now, how does the categorization algo work? The categorization algo is the most important feature of STAR, wherein every single investor would be categorized across different buckets based on certain features like age of the investor, the profession of the investor, the income of the investor, the risk appetite, sector preference. Let's say the investor prefers tech as a sector, banks as a sector, halal investment, so on and so forth, and the time horizon. What is the kind of time duration that the client prefers for his investment, his or her investment decisions, which is whether it is long term, medium term, short term, and so on. Once we have done the categorization, there would be a model portfolio of investments that would be assigned to every single category. Now, how this works is initially we would start off with very few categories, let's say 5 to 10 categories. But as the model moves on over a period of time, the idea would be to increase the number of categories, say to 50, 60, or even 100 or beyond, so that the tailored services or rather the recommendations that we give to each client are more and more tailored. So initially, maybe 1,000 clients would be categorized in one single category, but going forward, it would be 10, 15, 20 clients across one single category. So the investment decisions or the recommendations are more and more suited to every single client. Coming back to the model portfolio, for every single category, there would be a model portfolio, and the model portfolio would include various investment instruments across different sectors, equity, metals, real estate, even cryptos, fixed deposits, bonds, and so on and so forth. And based on the changes in the model portfolio, the investors would be alerted, or rather even the account managers would be alerted that every time a particular model portfolio changes, the recommendations are given out to the clients on a real-time basis. Also, the beauty of this system is that it is real-time. It can be made to run on a second-by-second basis and not on a weekly or a daily basis, which traditionally systems work on. So we have the flexibility to make it absolutely real-time. This is more or less the structure. We'll have the historical data and the live data being fed into the consolidation and feature extraction algorithm. From there, it feeds data or decisions into STAR, and from STAR, they are sent out to individual clients as well as account managers and even other sections or other departments within the bank. Just giving you a couple of illustrations here. For example, how this will work is, let's say one client moves from a low volume category to a high volume category one fine day, or between, let's say, middle of the day. Alerts are thrown out to the respective account managers as well as concerned people within the bank. The managers can then look at the activity of the client and then recommend certain investment products to the client. Another would be, let's say, activity based. So the engine knows that a particular client is most active between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the morning. So most of the recommendations will be sent out to the client only between 9 to 11, because we know that it's extremely likely that the client would make his or her investment decisions in the morning, because that's the preferred time for the client based on the activity log that we have in the system. Again, the recommendations could be instrument based also. We know that certain clients prefer a certain kind of instrument, and the UAB's account management team or the system itself knows exactly which instruments to recommend to the client based on the preferred instruments or sectors of the client. Again, these are all thrown out by the algorithms running at Star engine. These are some tentative timelines. Assuming we started off on 2nd August, these will shift by a week now. Assuming we start off tomorrow, we expect to do the entire integration by the end of December. And like I said, this will be a completely white label product, and would be for the end client, this would be a product of UAB and not of No Solutions.
Perfect. Thank you, Mihir. Time is up. Thank you. Judges, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Star team. I got about 3 or 4 questions. When you showed the architect of the design, you mentioned the star. The star was in the middle of your diagram. If you go back to the presentation where you have your architectural design, your star you're referring to as an MDM solution or as your data modeling? It's going to act as a, that star.
Yes.
That seems a little bit fuzzy, not clear. So what's Star itself?
So Star itself is nothing but an algorithm. It's like a set of APIs, and it will run at a server level within the UAB bank. It does not have a front end. It only has a back end and an entire engine, which is basically composed of categorization algos and AI algos. How it works is the entire front end for UAB will be built by us, and at the back end would be powered by Star. And that's why we call it a completely white labeled system, because for the user, for the end client, it is going to be UAB's front end, and not anything else.
But that back end system, Star, that will depend on the data warehousing that should be in place at our back end, right?
So what we do is, at the time of integration, Star requires data in a particular structure. We understand UAB would have data in a different structure. So there's a one-time integration. When we say the integration, we would include the steps wherein we would convert the data that is available to us in UAB structure into the structure that is readable by Star. So there's that one-time handshake would be required. Yes.
And do you have a ready-made out-of-the-box data model for your design?
We do, but we've actually, so our systems are mostly developed for capital markets. So there's a lot of trading related insights that we can give out. But in terms of the banking products, we would have to fine tune the model.
All right. And you showed in your project plan by end of December, the delivery of the POC?
Yes.
This is assuming we start by November 5th, you're saying? I can't see the dates.
So I've assumed 2nd of August as the start date, assuming we start off tomorrow, which is 9th or 10th, we still end up by end of December.
So we'll give you, and the POC will give you a real case scenario that relates to UAB, and you guys are committed to deliver this real case scenario by end of December.
That's right, yes.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Salam.
Okay, my question is, do you have a scenario implemented in retail banking before?
No, not really, sir. Like I said, we have 20 plus clients in India and a couple of clients in Dubai, but they are mostly related to capital markets and trading. So our clientele is mostly on the capital markets and trading side. That's why we are used to developing products on a real-time basis. For the banking, this would be our first project, but the use case fits perfectly into.
Okay, thank you. We're done from you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any further questions from the judges?
So, Mihir, hi, this is Pooja from SCA. So, my question is more on the regulatory side, is more regarding the data. What I understand is that you have an algorithm, which is Star, which I think you will embed into the system of UAB.
That's
So
right.
will there be any kind of data security concerns or anything we should be concerned about? Because I understand your algorithm would be, or your systems are based in India, right?
So Pooja, how it works is this entire system would be installed or rather set up within the premises of UAB and servers of UAB. Not a single data point goes outside of UAB, whether it is the investment decision data or whether it is the results that are given out by Star. That's typically how we work with all our clients. These are all on-prem systems and setups. So nothing goes outside of UAB.
Okay. And one more question related is, do you have anybody on the team who has experience with banking? Because I agree with Damon that, okay, I understand you can customize it, but you need someone because we are talking of hyper personalization here.
Right, right.
Which is taking one step beyond core banking. So,
right. So to be honest, we honestly do not have anybody with a banking background, but we're extremely confident because we work with everything related to capital markets. Even we have a risk, a real-time risk product, which is overseeing average daily asset size of about $400 million on a daily basis. And it's all related to capital markets, but really not banking products. But we'll need, when we have the historical data of UAB, and when that gets mapped to the entire investor decision making, that's pretty much all that we need to train the model, and everything else remains untouched.
okay.